Welcome to Keane Fitness Podcast, where we talk everything fitness, nutrition and mindset with your host Keane.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Keane Fitness Podcast. We talk everything fitness, nutrition and mindset to help you with your goals. Today's episode we're going to focus on what to do if you're a hard gainer, have a fast metabolism, or just basically tips on how to add more muscle to your frame. So whether you're a guy that's looking to add some size to your chest or your arms or shoulders or legs, or a girl that's just looking to build up her shoulders and her glutes, I'm going to share some tips with the quote-unquote hard gainers. There's a lot of tips in here that anybody can apply, because the truth is building muscle, the parameters for building muscle doesn't matter the speed of your metabolism. The parameters are going to apply to you as well. There's just a couple of hacks and a couple of tips that I use with people that have slightly faster metabolisms, or people that find it a little bit harder to put on muscle, or people that find when they increase their calories, they end up getting fat as opposed to putting on muscle. So I'm going to focus on three sections today, mainly nutrition, training and supplementation, and how to pack on more size or more muscle to your glutes, to your shoulders, to your chest, to your arms, whatever body part that looks like for you, or just an overall body composition change, and the things to look out for if you're a quote-unquote hard gainer, or somebody that just struggles to put on size, or that you get fat when you increase your calories. The first thing is nutrition. So if you're somebody with a very, very fast metabolism, and a lot of hard gainers have a very, very fast metabolism. It can be due to lots of different reasons. People with that ectomorph kind of body type, where you tend to be taller and leaner. You tend to have higher levels of cortisol in your body. It's why you metabolize everything so quickly. There's a great book, Phil Learney's Nutritional in One. Very, very heavy on the science, but he talks a lot about how people, the ectomorph, have a very higher elevation of cortisol naturally in their body. It's why they're in a higher state of fight or flight normally, so that they're not as hungry and they don't need as much food to function. It's nothing right or wrong with this. It's just the way that your body adapts. A very good section in this book on that, Nutritional in One. I'll link it in the show notes below. But there's a couple of hacks that you can do if you have a very, very quick metabolism. The key for anybody looking to build muscle is always going to be getting enough calories and getting enough amino acids to be able to repair from workouts and build more muscle. There's a little bit of a catch-22 with your training program, and regardless of your goals, you always want to align your training program and your nutrition plan one and the same. Now, I find it very hard. Back when I started as a personal trainer first, if somebody asked me for a training program or just a nutritional plan, it's like, well, you need the context of everything. So even people that were doing training programs with me or doing nutritional plans with me, when I started off first, I used to have to find out what they were eating or find out how they were training, because you can't just do one. They need to be in alignment with one another. And this is the exact same case. So what you want to do with your nutrition is make sure you're getting enough calories to support the growth from the training that you're going to be doing. So number one is eating calorie dense foods. What happens, and normally in 9 out of 10 cases with people that are quote unquote hard gainers, is they're normally just not eating enough calories. So if you've got a maintenance calories of 2,500, you're probably going to need to eat double that to put on size. And people, when they think 4,000 or 5,000 calories, they think, oh my God, that's such a huge amount of food. I'm never going to be able to eat that. And yeah, true. If you're getting those calories from rice and chicken, you're going to be eating a lot of food. But you can stick with calorie dense foods where you don't have to eat a lot to get a lot of calories. Things like natural peanut butter, almond butter, coconut oil, hemp oil, flaxseed oil, things like this. The oils have a lot of calories for not a lot of bulk in the food. Like you can add, 2-3 tablespoons of coconut oil or hemp seed oil or flaxseed oil or olive oil to a protein shake, and you bumped up the calories by 400 straight away by just adding that to it. And it's the same with natural peanut butter, with almond butter. You need to eat very little to get your calories very high. What I normally do with my people that are in my online program, I have a lean bulk version of my online program. And what I normally do with them is I add in shakes, weight gaining shakes that I've created in order to bump up their calories. And they're normally 1,000 calorie, 1,200 calorie shakes that you can literally have as a snack during the day. And you find that you're able to get your normal 3 meals and then maybe 1 or 2 other snacks around that. And before you know it, you're at 3,500, 4,000 calories. And your body's able to use those extra calories to grow new muscle, providing that you're working within the right training parameters for that. And the next thing then what you want to do is make sure that you're spacing your meals out so that you're not cramming all of that food and calories in one go. Now, there is an argument for intermittent fasting and doing it this way, and there's a great book by Holfmekler, Minimum Fat, Maximum Muscle, and it's based on the intermittent fasting principle. I do find that system works very well for fat loss. I wasn't a fan personally. I found I was starving all through the day, even though my body fat did drop. I think it's not a very effective method, particularly for hard gainers, because you're just not going to be able to digest 5,000 calories in one meal, and over a 2-hour period in the day. So I generally find spacing your meals out every 2.5-3 hours, so that you're constantly drip feeding your body with amino acids, you're constantly drip feeding your body with calories, you're keeping your blood sugar stable, and you're getting that solid digestion through every meal, as opposed to loading yourself with 3, 4, 5,000 calories over 2-hour period in the case of intermittent fasting, or in a space of breakfast, lunch and dinner. It's just so much digestion, and you're probably going to lose a lot of that, because your digestive system, unless it's working, even though people that are ectomorphs and have a faster metabolism tend to have pretty good digestion, and they tend to metabolize their food very, very quickly. It's why they don't put on size, or it's why you don't put on size that easily. But even sitting down eating 2,000 calories in each of your meals, it isn't great for your digestive system, even though it varies person to person and everyone's going to be very individual. I have found that working with the people in my online program, spacing their meals out allows them to eat higher calorie meals. Like you eat 700-800 calories at every meal, and before you know it, they start adding up pretty quickly through the day, and you're drip feeding your body with all the amino acids it needs to repair from workouts, and you have enough calories in there so that your energy is high, and that you're able to build that muscle that your body is so feverishly burning through in terms of calories and in terms of muscle. So providing that you've got your nutrition on point, and you're spacing your meals out, and you've got calorie dense foods, and you're eating enough calories, as I said, use the likes of MyFitnessPal and different apps, or go onto a nutritional program, or follow somebody's program that has all the calories calculated. Use that as your baseline. And then I'm not an anti MyFitnessPal. I love the information and how readily available it is right now, that people can click and go, oh well, that's 500 calories, that's 1,000 calories. That works great. It's just when people get obsessed with it, and the obsession of, oh well, I've undereaten today, or I've overeaten today, and the cortisol response and the elevation in actual cortisol levels in people can have more negative effect than actually undereating or overeating on your daily intake anyway. So that's where I have a problem with it. But I think initially, for a week or two, it's a great way of just calculating how many calories you're eating. For example, I calculate all of the macros and all of the calories in my online program, but I tell people after about 2 weeks, I was like, you're going to know by eye after 2 weeks of eating certain foods that, that's what 100 grams of rice looks like, or that's what 250 grams of chicken, or whatever the example is. That's what that looks like, and that tends to make it a lot easier to stick to, because you're not following a diet. My goal with everybody I work with in my online program is that you build a nutritional strategy that becomes the way you eat, and not a diet you're following. Because the truth is, you're never going to stick to a diet, but you'll follow a lifestyle program. You'll follow a nutritional strategy that works for you. So if you can build in a nutritional strategy with foods that you enjoy, that works within your schedule, and you're able to stick to it, is based around your goals, you're going to have much longer term success. And a lot of people I work with have long-term success, because I very much say from day one, we're not following a diet, we're trying to build a nutritional strategy for you. It's why I've got my live Q&A, or it's why I've got my Q&As within my group and within my community when you sign up, and we work together over the 6-12 week period for phase 1 and phase 2, so that you're able to build that nutritional strategy, so that you're, by the end of the program, you're literally have a nutritional strategy that you can follow, and you just tweak depending on how your goals change. So the next thing then is making sure your training is in alignment with your nutritional strategy. One of the mistakes that I see sometimes is people who are quote unquote hard gainers doing either too much volume work, or doing cardio, or doing too much high intensity work, which can actually have a little bit of a detrimental effect. Now, there's a little bit of an argument for the volume, because I've had people grow doing supersets and giant sets, working with that 8 to 10 rep range, sticking within that hypertrophy parameters, and just maximizing their rest and cutting their cardio. I've had others who I've dropped the rep ranges down to 6 to 8 and increased the rest periods even further, and they've grown on that as well. So there is an argument for both sides, and I would try out both. What I have found has worked with 99 out of 100 people is sticking within your main hypertrophy parameters on the lower end of it. So your 8 reps is normally pretty solid, but 8 to 10 reps works great. You can superset that, triset that, giant set that, but maximize your rest periods, and then reduce your high intensity style cardio and reduce your low intensity style cardio, and make sure that you're focusing on working for lifting as much weight as you can with perfect form within those parameters, because the key is, with all scientific studies will show that maximum muscle hypertrophy is in that 8 to 10 rep range, that 60 to 90 rest period for actual main muscle growth, because you're maximizing your rest periods as well. So to work within those parameters are going to work incredibly well for you. So I've got people that have came through my program that have worked through the pro version, which is working through giant sets, others who have worked through different systems with drop sets, and even people in the beginner phase who are working through straight sets but are working to their failure at 8 to 10 and have grown because their nutritional plan is in alignment and they're eating enough calories and enough amino acids to support the repair that they're getting from the workouts. In terms of cardio, it's going to be case by case. And what I normally find with some people is that they will increase their calories and they'll end up increasing body fat and not actually putting on any muscle. The major reason I find with the majority of people is, one, that they're not eating clean foods. They're not eating foods that are going to support their body with a good essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, good slow complex carbohydrates around training times, and they're not eating quality food. So what happens is they're getting an increase in weight and an increase in body fat, but no actual increase in muscle. It can be that, or that they're not training correctly, that they're working within the wrong parameters, they're doing a strength program or a powerlifting program, and their body's just not responding in terms of actually maximizing hypertrophy and getting bigger, or a combination of both, which is what happens with the majority of people when they're trying to build a lot of muscle and they start getting fat as opposed to building muscle. It's normally a sign the nutrition's off and the training's off, but you can maximize this by getting both right. Like, assuming you're following all the nutritional strategies I suggested, if you're doing a training program that's focused on moving the most weight with the perfect form, you're going to get your body composition to change alongside that. So if you're somebody that's been tried hard, you consider yourself a hard gainer in terms of you can't build muscle but you add body fat, it's worth keeping things like cardio in your program and then using your nutritional strategy and using your training program to make sure you're maximizing muscle gain, and then using a little bit of cardio, 10 minutes of high intensity interval training, 20 minutes of low intensity steady state, depending on what system you prefer, what's around your goals or where your calorie intake is at. That's going to keep you pretty lean. For the people that are quote unquote traditional hard gainers and have a very fast metabolism, I would cut out your cardio completely. I have a lot of people come through my online program and they'll do the pro, the intermediate, or the beginner version of my gym-based program or the home-based version, and I'll cut their cardio out of it completely. So it means that the calories they're eating are going to be maximized towards muscle repair, which is going to give you more chance of building back on size. I had a guy recently come through my GA Lean Body program and he sent me the nicest message. He's like, I'm up 3 kilos. He's like, I've been at the same weight for the last 18 months. He goes, I thought I'd never gain weight. And he's up after like 6 weeks. And he was ecstatic about it. But we have him on, his nutritional strategy is on point. He's getting good quality carbohydrates coming in around his training times. His essential fatty acids are high and he's getting enough essential amino acids to repair for growth. So his nutrition's on point and it's in alignment with his training goals, because it's very hard to separate the two. In terms of supplements then, I'm not a fan of weight gainers. I think they're so overpriced. I think they've got really shitty ingredients, and I think they are just one of the most amazing marketing ploys by the fitness industry. And I'm by no means anti-supplement. I think there's some incredible ones out there. Branched chain amino acids, good whey protein or vegan protein, creatine, beta-alanine, green tea extract, L-carnitine tartrate, caffeine. Like, there's some incredible supplements out there and I'm big fans of them. But weight gainers, I think, are an absolute rip-off. The majority of them are filled with really low quality carbohydrate ingredients and have either a monster mutant mass 5,000 add 50 kilos to your chest or whatever on the marketing ploy, and that will bring people in. Like, I remember when I was starting off my business first, I remember talking to young guys who used to come into the vitamin shop in Galway, and every single week he used to buy a new that massive tub of, I can't even remember what it was, XXXXL, some supplement. And I gave him a recipe for he was coming in like spending €65 every single week. And I was like, here mate, I was like, go buy a quality whey protein and here, add these ingredients. So 100 grams of oats, 3-4 tablespoons of peanut butter, a couple of tablespoons of coconut oil, some hemp oil. I was like, mix it all together, put some organic stevia in there, some raw cacao if you want to make it more chocolatey, some almond milk if you want to bump up the calories, and then just blend it all up and use that as your shake. I was like, you're going to save yourself a fortune. I was like, this big tub of whey protein costs the exact same as your XXXXXL monster size max. and it's going to last you 2-3 months, as opposed to coming in every week spending €65, and you can buy those ingredients in Tesco or Dunnes or Sainsbury's or wherever you're listening to this in your local supermarket for €9 or $9 or £9 or whatever it is, and you're going to save yourself a fortune and get higher quality ingredients because you're using real foods that your body can use and will support you in growing more muscle, as opposed to cheap ingredients like dextrose and glucose and maltodextrin and these crappy ingredients that are added to most weight gainers to bump up the size, and that are really readily absorbed, fastly absorbed, and your body tends to just burn through them as quickly. Sometimes there'll be other added calories in there to slow it down, but they're still really cheap quality ingredients because all the money is spent on sponsoring their athletes or on the packaging, and they don't actually. I've yet to come across a good weight gainer from any, and there's amazing supplement companies out there, but I'm yet to come across a gainer that I've looked at and gone, that's got really good ingredients, that's really, really good. So what I would do is make your own. Get solid carbohydrate sources, some quality fats, because they're going to bump up your calories and slow down the absorption and drip feed your body with the calories and the amino acids, and get a good solid vegan protein or whey protein or whatever version of protein you want, and make your own weight gaining shake. The key is calories in, calories out for hard gainers. There's other supplements like creatine and beta-alanine, which are going to be the ones that support you the most. Creatine is going to pull water underneath the muscle, which, as long as your water intake is high, it means you're going to be able to push more weight, slightly more weight for more weight for the same reps, or you're going to be able to lift the same weight for more reps. So you're going to elicit growth on both sides. And then beta-alanine on top of buffering lactic acid can allow your body to house a little bit more creatine. So they tend to work very symbiotically together. So if you're a hard gainer, I would get a good quality creatine. I personally like ethyl ester. I'm using biocreatine at the minute, which is pink Himalayan salted fenugreek. It's a monohydrate, but they're using those as a transporter, so you don't need to use glucose or dextrose with it. And a good quality beta-alanine. Get yourself a good protein supplement, and then start getting some real food and making your own shakes and getting your nutrition on point, because that's what's going to make you put on more size as a hard gainer. And I've had people come to me, they're like, I can't put on any size no matter what I do or try. I'm like, try this. I was like, get enough calories from quality sources, get your training program on point, and use good supplements that support your goals, and you will be able to add size. Okay, got a couple of questions from Snapchat. So anyone that sends any questions for the podcast, they normally come in from my Snapchat. So BrianK019 is my Snapchat. It's my most active platform at the minute. So definitely head over there and follow me. And any questions that come in either through the normal topic episodes or the Friday Q&As normally come in from Snapchat. So BrianK019. I also open it up every day, Monday to Friday, where you can ask me questions back and forth. And it's my favorite platform at the minute because I'm able to interact with people back and forth. Okay, first question from Johnny Bulmers. What's your definition of a hard gainer? My definition of a hard gainer, as I mentioned at the start of the episode, there's two different definitions. I think there's traditional hard gainer, which is somebody with a very, very fast metabolism that burn up calories very, very quickly. I used to train with a friend of mine when I was in college, who was literally the walking definition of a hard gainer. He was I can eat 4 pizzas a day and stay super rake thin. And he would have to go to the gym for 6 weeks and eat, 3,000-4,000 calories every day of quality foods to put on any size. And then if he got sick, he lost it all. That's my kind of definition of a traditional hard gainer. There's pros and cons to it. With the traditional hard gainer, obviously the con is it's a lot harder to add a lot of lean muscle mass to your frame. But the pro to that is because of your metabolism, because you stay naturally so lean, if you can add muscle to the frame, it tends to look so much better. Like you look at your, say, your Ryan Reynolds and your people like that in Hollywood who would be very, very traditional ectomorphs and pack size on their frame, they tend to hold it and carry it a lot better because they stay leaner while they do it. So there's a pro and a con to it. It can be very disheartening as a traditional hard gainer because when you get sick for a few days or stop training, it feels like you've lost all your muscle. The only thing I can say there is it's like building up a wall. The slower and the better you build up a wall, the easier it is to keep it there. So if you're gradually building on that size and getting it right every single day, eating enough calories, even if you get sick for a week and you get back on track again, and you do that over a consistent period of time, your body will start to hold more muscle every time that you get sick, or else the muscle memory will kick in and you'll put it back on quickly. Then there's the untraditional hard gainer, which is the person that finds it hard to just put on muscle, as opposed to they'll get body fat if they increase their calories, and they consider themselves a hard gainer, but they're not technically a traditional hard gainer. For people like this, I find that it's normally a misalignment of nutrition and training goals. People that are like, I just can't put on any muscle, it's normally there's something off in the nutrition. The foods normally aren't that clean, they're not spaced out right. This is what I found. Again, it's case by case, but just from some of the cases that I've seen, and the training program isn't normally in alignment with it. So when people increase their calories because they're like, well, I want to add more size, but they carry that belly fat, or they increase their man boobs or whatever it is, when they do it, guys particularly tend to find that they are the untraditional hard gainer, and it's normally just a misalignment of training and nutrition. And when you get that on point and then keeping a little bit of cardio, you tend to be able to build muscle while keeping it very, very lean and clean as you build up that quality muscle onto your frame. Okay, next question is a screenshot question. Do you think that it's the same for guys and girls as hard gainers? The principles will be the same regardless of whether you're a guy or a girl. It's about getting good quality ingredients or good quality foods into your system, and then aligning your training program. The only difference is your training split may look differently. For example, in my online program, my guys have one of their training sessions is a chest and abs day, where the girls on that exact same day do glutes and hamstrings, because you're going to be prioritizing different body parts. So your training program may look different, but in terms of the actual overall principles, I'm making sure you're getting enough calories to support the growth, and getting a training program in alignment with that. It won't matter regardless of gender. It's going to be down to your specific goals, and then applying the systems based around your height, your weight, your goals, your training program, your nutritional strategy. Next question from Alex O'Sullivan on Snapchat. Best way for an ectomorph to put on muscle mass quickly. The best way is going to be following the strategies from the episode. The nutrition's number one. Even more so than getting your supplements and training on point, you've got to get enough calories into your system. Normally, the majority of the times I see people that can't add size to their frame is just genuinely down to not eating enough calories to support growth. So number one thing for getting size is going to be increasing your calories. In terms of putting it on quickly, it's harder to put on, it's a lot easier to lose body fat fast than to actually build muscle fast. It's easy to fill up glycogen stores and feel fuller and bigger, but it actually takes a lot longer to put on muscle. That's why you very rarely see before and after transformations over 6 or 12 weeks with someone that's jacked up with a load of muscle, unless there was some form of drugs or manipulation of Photoshop or something in the photo, because you generally don't put on that much muscle in a 6 or 12 week period. You can put on a little bit, but you're not going to put on 10 kilos of muscle in 6 or 12 weeks, where you may lose 10 kilos of body fat, if you have a lot of body fat to lose, because your body can drop that down. And sometimes it can give an illusion of adding more muscle. If you are, for example, because I'm a pretty big guy, when I lose body fat, I look bigger because of the way my frame sits, and I'm short and I'm stocky. So when I lose body fat, I tend to look a lot bigger, even though I might be 2 kilos lighter than when I started. So there's a little bit of an illusion depending on each person's body type there as well. But the main thing is going to be getting your nutrition on point, and then putting your training program in alignment with that. In terms of doing it quickly, I wouldn't set yourself a goal of adding 10 kilos in 6 weeks or whatever it is. It's going to be slow and steady building up a wall. But that being said, I've had people come through my GA Lean Body program and come through my online program who have put up consistent numbers, who've added size to their frame. And the key is being consistent with that. And a lot of those people have built nutritional strategies that work for their life long term. And now, I can't wait to see them in another 6 months or 12 months, because it's a lifestyle. A lot of my style of training with people is building it into your lifestyle, so that after 6, 12 weeks you don't need me anymore, that you're like, okay, I've got this. You might use a little bit of a maintenance and check in for maintenance, but you're not actually reliant on me telling you exactly what to eat or exactly what to do. It's building your own knowledge on what works for you. That's a lot of my strategies and philosophies, because that's how I live my life. I'm like, teach me how to do it. I'm like, it's cool that you can show me, but teach me how I can do it for myself. So I tend to apply that to a lot of my online programs. Massive thank you to everyone for listening to this. Please share it with your friends, anyone that's looking to put on size as a hard gainer. I've actually been blown away by the word of mouth that people are saying about my podcast and Snapchat particularly. I've had so many emails and messages from people being like, oh, so-and-so told me about your podcast, which is incredible. When I hear word of mouth like that, it's just so mind-blowing. I want to say a massive thank you. We hit over 100,000 downloads there about a month ago, and it's just unbelievable to think that those numbers are coming through iTunes and Stitcher on Android. It's just incredible. So thank you all so much. For more information on me, or for more information on my online top 50 program or my lean body GA program, head over to my website, www.briankeanefitness.com. You can also sign up to my 14 days of fat loss on there, or you can sign up to my newsletter. For my Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, it's all Brian Keane Fitness. And my Snapchat, BrianK019, and that's where all the questions from the podcast come in, and I open it up every day for Q&As back and forth, so make sure to follow me on there. That's my most active platform at the minute. And a massive thank you to Cullum over at Voxonic, who edits and puts together all my podcast episodes. Anyone that wants to get their podcast up and running, definitely get on to Cullum over there at Voxonic. Thanks again, catch you guys soon.